I'm Mark Wilson. I'm the director of the Caroline Marshall Drawn Center for the Arts and Humanities in the College of Liberal Arts at Auburn University. The Living Democracy program started as an experiment with the Kettering Foundation and really trying to see if we could think about community engagement as more than just service or more than just service learning, but really thinking about a community as a classroom and what that might mean if a student were to live there during the summer. And it works differently for each student. Some students really thrive in this kind of environment, but at the same time, some students it's challenging because the script is not written. You have to figure out what you're going to do. Early on, I think we were tempted because we were still in that mental model of what a university can do in a community. That we would really stress project planning and trying to figure out, all right, what is the student going to be responsible for? But then the more we did it, we started realizing that the best learning experience is where the student has to do the listening and has to figure things out as it happens. And so when students would interview for a position, they would say, well, what am I going to be doing? And we would say, well, we have no idea because we haven't introduced you to the community yet. And so what we try to tell students is that the community has a story. You got to learn that story. The community has a rhythm. You've got to listen enough to understand that rhythm and then figure out what the possibilities could be once you arrive. But we explain it to students that it's not a traditional internship because a traditional internship in our mind is vertical in nature, where you are trying to learn everything about one particular organization, how to make the coffee, how to get the mail, how to be the CEO. So that one day you might be the CEO of the organization. And what we're trying to do is turn that model sideways so that you learn about not just one organization, but you learn about the community through an organization. And so you're trying to understand all of the relationships that exist in the community, the positive ones, the negative ones, and all the ones in between, because it's really about a living learning experience rather than just a traditional internship. I think the program does several things. One, for faculty, because it's offered by the Matthews Center, and the invitation to participate is really not just from the Matthews Center, but from communities around the state, because you're asking faculty members to start with the community story and to start where citizens start, which is so unusually refreshing and different from the way universities generally work. We usually want to start where universities start rather than starting where citizens start. And so having this program helps faculty members think about their work differently from the perspective of citizens. For the students, it gives them a unique and obviously different experience than just volunteering. It helps them to try to be innovative as listeners, as innovators, innovative as producers, and thinking about the world from the perspective of citizens, not necessarily from their own discipline. We try to help students understand that their major means something and the skills that they develop mean something, but this is really not about them as professionals. This is about students as citizens. And so we always tell students that one thing every student will always have in common is that you will graduate. Keep going to class, you will graduate, and you will one day live in a community. And it's that living in community that's going to be most important, and understanding and having a real reason to interact and a sense in which you want to discover the stories of others and act together on shared problems that really makes a difference. And so I think this internship helps to underscore the perspective of citizens and helps us join with citizens to do the work that needs to be done.
You particularly, Mark, have been such a mentor for all of our staff. I mean, starting with not only our current staff, but also Chris McCauley before us. And so many people who've been involved with the Matthews Center have benefited from learning from what you've been doing at Auburn and across the state. And we're so grateful for you. And actually, I wanted to let you know that the executive committee of the Matthews Center Board of Directors voted last week to give you the 2020 Gina O'Connor Snyder Award. So it's well deserved.
You tricky thing. Well, I'm speechless. not only for your kind words, but for the affirmation. It's an honor to be a part of the program, no matter what. But to be able to work with y'all, certainly quite meaningful. So I
appreciate that.
am honored and speechless.
I will also let you know you're the first man to win the award. We've only had women. So congratulations.